It's BBC World News. Our top stories. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro says he survived an assassination attempt involving explosive drones. South Sudanese rebel leader Riek Machar and President Salva Kiir are expected to sign a power-sharing agreement shortly to try to end 5 years of brutal civil war. Showbiz diplomacy. Russia appoints the controversial American actor Steven Seagal as a special envoy to try to improve relations with the United States. Hello and welcome to BBC World News. The Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro says he's survived an apparent assassination attempt involving explosive drones. He was giving a live televised speech at a military event in the capital Caracas when the attack happened. The authorities say the president was unharmed, but 7 soldiers were injured. A little-known rebel group says it was responsible. Lepo Diseko reports.
A la Venezuela consciente.
President Maduro was in the middle of his televised speech when this happened. The camera shakes, his wife looks up, and then he does. The pictures then cut to soldiers at the event, who we see running. Officials say 2 drones packed with explosives had been flown towards the parade and exploded, injuring 7 soldiers. And in the aftermath have come recriminations. The communications minister said the opposition was behind the attack. It's not hard to see why Mr. Maduro might feel embattled. Police and anti-government activists clash regularly as protests continue against what opponents say is Mr. Maduro's increasingly authoritarian rule. The country has the largest oil reserves in the world, but its economy is on its knees. Hyperinflation and food shortages mean shelves are often bare and families go hungry. Mr. Maduro says the current crisis is the result of a Western plot to crush his socialist government and says the opposition is in on it. Speaking after the attack, he claimed it was engineered by Colombia and financed from America.
Preliminary investigations have indicated to us that there are various financial backers of this attempt on my life. They live in the United States, in the state of Florida. Hopefully President Donald Trump's government is willing to fight these terrorist groups.
So while his detractors both at home and abroad may beg to differ, for Mr. Maduro and his supporters, these latest events prove that they are the ones under attack. Lepo Diseko, BBC News.
And of course there's much more on that, including those incredible pictures on our website bbc.com/news. Now, after 5 years of civil war, the president of South Sudan, Salva Kiir, and the rebel leader Riek Machar are expected to sign a power-sharing agreement in the coming hours in the Sudanese capital, Khartoum. Previous ceasefires and deals have collapsed, but on Friday, President Kiir said he was confident an agreement would hold because this time it's not been forced upon them. The deal will see Riek Machar return to government as one of 5 vice presidents. Tens of thousands have been killed in South Sudan since the civil war broke out in 2013. The conflict has also displaced more than 2 million South Sudanese people who have fled into neighbouring countries. Take a look at some of the other stories making the news. NATO says 3 of its soldiers have been killed by a suicide bomber in eastern Afghanistan. Reports say it happened in the capital of Parwan province, Charikar. The soldiers, whose nationalities have not been disclosed, were attacked during a foot patrol alongside Afghan forces. A new outbreak of the Ebola virus in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo is thought to have killed more than 30 people. The area near the Ugandan border includes a trading hub and crowded refugee camps, making the outbreak difficult to control if it takes hold. Russian police have detained at least 25 LGBT rights activists during a protest in St. Petersburg to promote the rights of sexual minorities. About 60 activists gathered at the main square in the city centre despite a ban being placed on the rally. In 2013, Russia passed legislation banning the spreading of what it described as gay propaganda. Now, temperatures at close to record levels in Portugal and Spain are posing a major challenge for firefighters trying to bring scores of blazes under control. Aircraft have been used to drop water on forest fires near Monchique in southern Portugal. Chichi Azunda has the latest.
Portugal, the latest country battling wildfire. Some 700 firefighters are still trying to stop flames taking further hold of a eucalyptus forest near the town of Monchique in the Algarve. Water-dropping aircraft have been assisting them, as well as over 100 fire trucks. Already, more than 1,000 hectares of land has been destroyed and one village has been forced to evacuate.
How far were the flames?
It was about 500 meters from our kitchen.
The terrain is difficult to access and conditions have been tough. High winds, dry land and record temperatures. This weekend seeing more than 45 degrees. It's so hot, people are opting to stay in. But it's not just Portugal suffering. A continent-wide heat wave in recent weeks has seen deaths in Spain, droughts and wildfires from Greece to Sweden. Chichi Azunda, BBC News.
The actor Steven Seagal has a new job title. The Russian Foreign Ministry says he's been made a special representative for Russian-US humanitarian ties. He's a controversial figure, having also been accused of sexual misconduct in the wake of the Me Too movement. Riley Carlson has more.
Steven Seagal is now an international envoy, thanks to his ties to Russia and its president. The Russian embassy in the U.S. explained on Facebook, the task is to facilitate relations between Russia and the United States in the humanitarian field, including cooperation in culture, arts, public and youth exchanges. Here is Mr. Seagal playing a concert in Sevastopol, Crimea in 2014, just months after the peninsula was annexed by Russia. That move by Moscow drew international condemnation, including from the U.S.
My greatest desire is to bring Russia and America together. It always has been. And music is the language of the gods. It's the one language that all people understand. It's the one language that brings all people together.
In 2016, Mr. Seagal became a Russian citizen, receiving his passport from President Putin personally, someone he's met with several times and praised as a great leader. He received Serbian citizenship that year too. Later, he was accused by actress Portia de Rossi and others of sexual misconduct in the wake of the Me Too campaign. Ms. de Rossi wrote on Twitter that he unzipped his pants during a meeting in his office. He's denied the allegations. It's unclear how much time he'll be devoting to the new role, but according to the Russian Foreign Ministry, it's an unpaid position. Riley Carlson, BBC News.
Now finally, let's just show you these fabulous pictures. A car-free day in Indonesia has been used to good effect. Have a look at this. This is thousands of people getting together to dance the traditional Poco line dance in Jakarta. This is a world record attempt. They seem quite coordinated. Now, according to the organisers, some 65,000 people took part, spreading along 8 kilometres of the city's streets. President Joko Widodo reportedly also joined in, all part of celebrations marking the start of the Asian Games hosted in the city later this month. Now, apparently the willing dancers on the streets were joined by thousands of prisoners doing the same moves in prisons across the country. Doesn't that look fabulous? Lines, rows and rows of people in the same colours, all dancing. Lots more coming up.